But the first question comes from Mike Smith, Cargill 33. He says, where do you think Kawhi Leonard will play next year and why?
Oh, that's a great question. I am leaning towards the Clippers. The reason being, first of all, that's a position that they need. They're a great team already. Jerry West is there. He wants to play in LA. That's been covered. I think that this thing that brought him there to Toronto is also the thing that will allow him to leave. Toronto is perfect except for the fact that he knows that they kicked DeMar DeRozan to the curb in a way that was not conducive to what they're telling him. So when someone has broken a promise right in front of you, you don't believe the promises that they're telling you on the side.
Right.
Oh, but for you, we'd never do that. No, he doesn't believe that. It's just how good can it be here? And if the Clippers situation wasn't so perfect, if it wasn't in LA, if they didn't have Doc Rivers, if they didn't have a bunch of talent there already, if they didn't have Jerry West and a super rich owner who's willing to shell out money, being in his hometown, and the fact that LA is a place that he doesn't want to go. So if he wants to play in LA, the Clippers is the only option because I feel like he definitely doesn't want to play next to LeBron James with the mess that's going on down there right now. If the Clippers wasn't perfect, maybe he would stay in Toronto and overlook it. But as it is right now, if you look at Kyle Lowry in that situation, Kyle Lowry has not backed off emotionally from what happened over the summer. He's been a total professional. And at times this year, he's been excellent for them. Even though when his shooting has gone up and down, his playmaking was there, his defense, his intelligence has been there on the court. He's been basically a model citizen when he was healthy. But you look at his attitude, and he's like, no, I don't trust that guy. And when arguably the second best player on your team is like, yeah, I'll play for him, and I'm not going to blow this up, but I'm not recommending you stay here, even though Kyle Lowry's stuck there. I think that is the kicker for Kawhi. He'll probably wind up on the Clippers because if he goes to the Clippers, they're probably better than Toronto anyway.
Yeah, I think it could be the Clippers or the Lakers. I do think I don't rule the Lakers out. I know everybody saw that that video after the Lakers just played Toronto, and when LeBron shook Kawhi's hand, and
I told you later.
Yeah, you could hear and see him say, "We'll be in touch."
Yeah,
and, so I think that's a possibility, but I do think the Clippers have a lot to offer him from a youthful standpoint. I just don't know whether or not the Clippers does. Okay, the thing about, I mean, the Clippers are in a decent situation because they'll probably have money, I believe, for 2 max free agents, and they're already a playoff team. So Brooklyn is the other team like that.
They also have, and similar to Brooklyn, they have players people actually want.
Mm-hmm.
Right? Like Brandon Ingram was the only player on that team that at this point was looking like somebody that people would want. And then he came down with the Chris Bosh's. And people are like, we need to see how serious that is. Now, the medical word is that this isn't as serious as Chris Bosh's thing at this point.
Mm-hmm.
But when you look at Brandon Ingram, I think there's a little bias because he doesn't have the look of like Zion, who looks like a specimen.
Mm-hmm.
When you hear about a medical issue, you're like, whoa, hold up. Whereas with the Clippers, they have several players that people want. They have a lot of like good mid-range talent. So even with what they have now, they're still flexible beyond that. So and we never talk about Lawrence Frank. That guy's a basketball genius too, man.
He's a very good coach.
Yeah, he's a great coach and has a great brain for basketball. And with him and Doc and Jerry West there, that's like elite level NBA intelligence. I think the Clippers now are in a very special situation.
Yeah, they're in a very good situation. I know D. Johnson is loving this Clippers praise.
Yeah, we take it all back.
Yeah, he's loving that. But yeah, I do think that they are in a good situation. I think Kawhi fits the identity of the team that they're creating there.
Yes. Well, dude, if he goes there, that team defensively is going to be a serious problem. Like, here's the thing. I think this might sound controversial, but I think potentially the West in the future, in the next 4 years, is more open than the East. Because the West has a lot of either talent in their prime or talent that's starting to age. Whereas the East, you're talking about Giannis, Ben Simmons, you know,
I really
Joel
think
Embiid.
I think you're talking about Milwaukee, Philly, and Brooklyn, and depending on how Oladipo comes back, Indiana.
Well, it's also what did the free agents do, right?
Yeah.
So if Kevin and Kyrie either go to New York or, you know, what have you, or don't, right? If Anthony Davis gets traded to Boston, which is highly likely that he winds up in Boston, you're looking at a real situation where the East is going to have 3, 4 MVP, maybe even 5 MVP level players on good playoff teams for the next 4 years that are all younger. And Golden State, again, if Kevin Durant leaves. Now, I think Golden State is still going to be the favorite overall, particularly if they lose Draymond and keep Boogie. I think that could be a good look for them if they get defensive mid-range players. But Steph's got 31.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So they can be had getting a little older, not having Kevin Durant on the team. And everybody else, look, OKC still needs another player. Denver doesn't have a legit perennial all-star talent on their team yet. Either one of those guys has to get better, or Porter has to turn into something before Denver is a team that you look at as, like, if you're a Kawhi Leonard, you're saying, I can't beat them. I need more help to beat them. I think if you're Kawhi Leonard, you're saying, if I go to the Clippers, we're better than Denver. Right? You have to keep the superstar ego in mind.
I don't know. I think they're a really, really good team, but I don't know if
that's not the point. It's not whether him going to the Clippers would make them better. It's whether he thinks that would make them better.
Yeah, but I would have to think he's no dummy. You know, I don't know if he can.
Every conversation I've heard from a superstar player, the level of Kawhi Leonard, a guy who's an MVP level talent, and I think he is that level talent, one of the best two-way players, if not the best two-way player in the league still, unless you say that's Giannis. But he's in that conversation. And all of those guys think that if you give me decent talent around me, I can beat anybody. The only reason they look at Golden State as different is because they have 4 or 5 guys like that.
But if Golden State is not what they are now, then
everybody else can be
changes. Yes. Yeah, I can see that.
Particularly as, even though people respect Jokic, and they should, Denver doesn't have that James Harden, Kevin Durant level superstar where he's just going to kill you no matter what. Jokic is still developing, and he hasn't gotten to that point yet.
Yeah, I think he has a ceiling simply because he's just not a plus athlete, you know, and I think that's a other thing with him. So